Alright boys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be exceptionally better than last time, okay? This one is going to be funny as fuck, because you know how I am. Alright, let me put the seat on. So, you know, every time I see a nigga next to some chicken on some bullshit, like, look at this first frame. Okay, forget the name. The name the name says it all. But besides the name of the video, just look at the first frame of the video. You know this video is gonna be crazy. You know it's gonna slap, right? You know it's gonna be good. So we're gonna be reacting to this, and I'm telling you right now, we're about to see some bullshit, and it's gonna be funny as fuck. So yo, you know what? Let's go. Before I even watch this shit, I'm just gonna throw my predictions. And I'm just gonna tell you this. We're gonna see a bunch of niggas that are too lazy to get their smoke detector batteries changed via title. We know this. This motherfucker here, bro, I don't know how he's gonna do it, but he's gonna use his nigga senses. He's gonna use his nigga senses and detect the chicken by aura. Not by smell, not by taste, by sheer aura alone. This motherfucker was able to detect the chicken's power in his domain 3 kitchens ago. 3 kitchens away from him, bro. Crazy. Anyway, get into it.
Guess the chicken for $100.
Ooh, hold on. That's KFC.
Yo, come on, man. Not off rip though. Like I thought the smoke detector thing was gonna be in a separate clip. Why is it in this clip? Okay, it's gonna be in every single one of them, bro. It's gonna be in every single one of them. Smoke detector warriors. Bitch, buy a battery. Just switch it out, bro. It's not that fucking hard. Niggas, man. Niggas.
Just public.
How do you know it's Publix chicken? You know, I don't understand if it's KFC. I'm sorry I'm stopping this much, bro. This is just crazy. You know, I understand that it's KFC or Raising Cane's or Popeyes or something. How do you know? How can you detect Publix chicken? Are you like actively trying this shit? And no, bro, that's crazy. I'm sorry.
Publix chicken.
That's high level. That's high level.
This one's for sure Popeyes.
The joke is that he can see through the bottom of the blindfold.
Of course he can.
And if you didn't notice that, then it might be the magician's sleight of hand.
He
that
feels
distracts
the
you with
aura of the
ceiling
chicken,
birds
bro.
in the
Stop the
background.
code.
That being said, welcome to Stereotypes. And on that note, we have a TikTok sociologist here who got 3 million views for explaining the reasoning behind the smoke detector phenomenon.
Predictions. Don't worry, we're gonna go uninterrupted this time. But predictions. By his look alone, I can tell you, listen, I have this skill, I have this special ability that when I see somebody that's probably going to be a bit retarded, low IQ, or gay, I can instantly tell. And he has a little bit mix of all. So he's probably going to be a bit pretentious, okay? He's probably going to have a low IQ argument that doesn't really lead anywhere. And he's probably going to use word salad to an extent, whether it be saying a bunch of shit that don't mean anything or speaking in high-tier language that he read off the dictionary to make himself sound smart because his argument is retarded. That's probably what's going to go on here, okay? I don't even know what's about to happen, but whatever that is, that's probably what's going on here. And it's going to be some stupid shit. So, yeah, let's find out.
Went on.
Have you ever thought about how we came to associate the beep of a dying fire alarm with being broke?
Really? Because I've always associated people not being able to replace a battery with being stupid and lazy.
Where is the...
It's just laziness, honestly.
Where's the...
It's straight
Excuse
laziness.
me.
You see what I mean about the quality of person who lets those things go off incessantly? But I guess I'm wrong. Not having about $3.50 to quiet the noise of a safety device that's designed to piss you off until you fix it is really just about being born into a press.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be honest. It's not even about the price tag. It's literally just about the work that needs to happen in order for all of it to be done. So let's say your smoke detector goes off. Now you have to figure out. Now here's the mental strain. This is how it all works in your brain. So you're sitting on your chair. Now your smoke detector is going off. It's annoying as fuck, right? So you're sitting there. You're looking at it, and now you have to think. Well, now I have to get up there and take it and pull out the battery and go get a new battery if I don't have new batteries at home. So now you have to figure out if you're going to go up on the chair, if you're going to jump and just pull it out. Some motherfuckers are wild, that's what I'm saying. Or have to go get a ladder, walk up the ladder, which is going to get the ladder, bringing the ladder over there, setting up the ladder, standing and walking up the ladder, pulling it down. It's a bunch of work, and you know, just the majority of the time, black people are just lazy as shit. They don't want to do all that. It's essentially the mechanical equivalent to sitting on the couch and being too lazy to scooch over and grab the remote while you're eating. So essentially, that's just the same thing, but this is on steroids. So if you're lazy to that extent, you can't do that, you're definitely not going to do this. So the easier way out is to just ignore it till the end of time, build up an immunity to the sound, and just sit there and give zero fucks about it forever. And yeah, that's just what it is. It's kind of sad, but I could see why it happens.
Of situations, and the generational trauma from that has caused them to become immune to the sound.
I'm a sociologist, and sociology is the study of society and human behavior in social context. One of my 5 major focuses is the biopsychosocial axis, or somatics, and the social is how our lived experiences are, at least in part, the responsibility of someone else, and vice versa.
Holy shit, man, we get it. You've read a book before. This is Kaizen Nat in like 3 years.
I love
We just started and we're already seeing the word salad, and we hear the gay undertones. Do you hear it? I'm pretty sure you guys hear it. There's no way you don't hear it. You hear the gay undertones. So I'm potentially right on that regard, but we already know the word salad's happening. So that's already one down.
It goes beyond all reasons and does not come from a place of...
At least he's trying, you know, he's trying to learn. He's trying to learn.
Reciprocity, yes.
The sad
Good
thing
job,
is that
good job,
simply
Kai.
being
Good
willing
job.
to look up a word that he didn't know puts him ahead of most college English majors according to this literacy study.
Sad.
But let me translate
Sad.
for all the people who didn't waste time taking college classes in a field that is largely considered to be a joke these days. Essentially, the sociology guy said, if you're too lazy to change a battery, that's the fault of society, not yours.
Today I want to talk about the prefrontal cortex. In order to identify the relationship
Why
between
would you
firearms
even...
being built
How
in
do
the
you
prefrontal
even
cortex,
insert
which
that
understand
into
what the
this
prefrontal
argument?
cortex is, but the prefrontal cortex also has a role in governing executive
Holy
function.
accountability
And
ducking.
function is many things, but I mostly identify it as the ability to identify, initiate, follow through on, and complete a task.
Bro, it's not that complicated. You open up
It
the
really
smoke
isn't,
detector,
bro.
take the
It
battery
really
out, get
isn't,
a new
bro.
battery, and put the new battery in.
Nah. This is what you call accountability ducking pro max. This man is just like, oh no, it's not because I'm lazy. It's because society conditioned me into eternal laziness, and that's why I can't do it. My prefrontal cortex is conditioned to be lazy. Shut your bitch up, bro. It's not that deep. If it's a problem, just get on the fucking ladder, pull that shit down. Use $3 and buy a battery, stuff that shit in, put it back, and you're not gonna see it again. You're not even gonna hear about it for 6 months. So it's not that big of a deal, honestly. Talking about society, talking about my prefrontal cortex lobe, bro.
And if you're too ignorant of how electronics operate to
Nerd
figure it
and
out by
gay,
yourself,
crazy.
then there are like a million YouTube shorts that will teach you how to do that in like a minute. I mean, for how ridiculously easy this is, it is insane how many black people have...
Notice how he said YouTube Shorts and not even YouTube video? For those of you who watch tutorials for shit that you don't even know how to do, so for example, let's say you're trying to replace your ignition on your car, whatever, I'm just throwing a random example, but let's say you're not going to call somebody, you're going to DIY it yourself, replace the ignition on your car, so you can just like watch a YouTube video for like 3 minutes and learn how to do it. But now people don't have the attention span for that either. So everybody just sits there and watches the fucking instant super speed 15-second shorts because they don't have the fucking attention span to watch the full tutorials anymore. So he didn't even say tutorial videos. He said watch shorts, which is a lot. It indicates a lot about today's society, honestly. That says a lot.
on this channel who have beeping smoke detectors go off in the background. For those of you who are regular viewers, I don't go out and Google like 500 videos of black people just to find the one person who has a ceiling bird chirping in the background. When I cover people like that rapper Dank Damas who sued Lyft because she was too fat to fit into a normal-sized car, it's just in the video of her talking about the event.
I'm outside and you pulling off on me, bitch. I don't give a fuck if you gave me my fucking money.
You literally don't fit the phone frame. Your hands are literally outside of the camera frame. That is a wide angle iPhone 16 camera. Why do you not fit? How do you not fit the lens? Yes, I can see why they didn't let you drive. I'm sorry, bitch. I'm sorry. That's just what it is.
Money back.
Put down the donuts. Put down.
There's a reason why black people
And
get
the beat.
ridiculed for this.
And the beat.
There's a reason why other black people are ridiculing black people for this.
And I just really feel like I deserve this job. And if there's one thing about me, if there's something that needs to be fixed, I will fix it.
That's impeccable
I'm just
timing.
sitting
That has
here
to be
waiting
edited.
for this guy who's writing his
That timing
doctoral
is
thesis on-
impeccable. That has to be edited. There's no fucking way. We have to rewatch this. There's no way. That has to be an edit, bro.
I feel like I deserve this job. And if there's one thing about me, if there's something that needs to be fixed, I will fix it.
That has to be edited. That's AI.
I'm just sitting here waiting for this guy who's writing his doctoral thesis on smoke alarms to call me a racist for criticizing black culture.
Listen the fuck up, white people. Every other race is more racist than you. You don't believe me?
Ask a black person what they think about a Chinese guy. Ask a Jew what they think about black people. Ask an Indian what they think about Mexicans.
Ask a Japanese person what they think about the Chinese. Actually, you don't have to. They'll just tell you. So miss me with the racism bullshit. It's current year, and everyone's done with getting called racist for criticizing the behavior of anyone who isn't white.
Buzzwords.
Anyway, let's
They
get
just
back to
throw out
why
the
the
buzzwords.
African-American community can't figure out how batteries work.
One of the most common circumstances in which we can identify a dysregulated prefrontal cortex and by extension an inhibited capacity for executive functioning is in people with an ADHD diagnosis. ADHD is characterized by a lot of things, but chief among them, the ability to identify, initiate, follow through on, and complete tasks. This is also why adults with ADHD can have a hard time being on time to things. Because if the prefrontal cortex is not firing the way it's supposed to, it's just not firing. And no amount of yelling or frustration or cutting people off is going to change that.
Let me just get ChatGPT to translate that last segment, and he's saying that black people are late all the time because of biology. Well, that sounds kind of racist, but whatever. Now, I know he didn't say black people, but notice how he's only covering black stereotypes as he uses his college degree to continuously make excuses for the problem instead of providing solutions.
There are a lot of biopsychosocial phenomena that correspond with the dysregulation of the prefrontal cortex or other parts of the brain, like anxiety and depression, but also acute and chronic stress and trauma. And those are the ones that I kind of want to focus on, especially because the definitions of stress and trauma and what constitutes something that is stressful or traumatic isn't really up to you or somebody else. What does is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis and the sympathoadrenal medullary axis, which are structures within the brain.
You know what? Before we even continue here, first of all, my entire thesis was correct the moment I watched and I saw this man's fucking face pop on the screen. I knew for a fact we were about to engage in some fuckery. Word salad. 0 point doesn't make any sense. Essentially ducking its accountability to the highest possible order. That's just what this is. This man is blaming brain function, bro. Like let's be for real here. Let's be honest. It's really not as hard or as deep as this man is trying to make it seem. It's not this societal fucking deep existential thing. Bro, you're lazy. Stand up. Go grab a ladder, pull that shit down, and switch your fucking battery. And you know he's doing this word salad and all this shit because he knows this argument wouldn't stand up. This argument is easily debunked when debated. This argument stands zero chance in an actual idea protection standpoint. Like, you're not going to be able to protect this idea. This is an unprotectable ideology. You're cooked on this. So he knows this, and he's just going to put a bunch of word salads, make himself sound smart. The majority of people are not going to be able to understand what he's saying to the fullest extent, and then they're automatically just going to be like, well, I hear a bunch of buzzwords, and he said he's a major and he's pretty smart, so let's just take for what he's saying for a fact. And it's on TikTok, so it's a bunch of normies. So I already predict this, but the majority of the comments, or at least a lot of the comments there, are just going to be glazing him for sounding smart. That's just what this is.
In our stress responses. When they identify something that constitutes stress, they release stress hormones. They release cortisol. They release adrenaline.
If this idea stood any merit, if it had any merit whatsoever, he'd just be able to explain this in normal terms for the majority of people to understand, and they'd be able to back it and relate to it because it's true. But he knows it's bullshit, so he's just going to word salad away. He's going to word salad it away and just hide it in bullshit. He's using the politician tactic when you ask them yes or no questions, and then they just resort to a whole monologue about nothing. A whole monologue about absolutely nothing. That's essentially the same tactic, but just defending a stupid idea on a TikTok video.
Or adrenaline. And in circumstances where there are continual stressors that they can identify, they are releasing that on a loop. They're releasing it too frequently, and this overwhelms the brain and dysregulates its traditional functions.
My God, enough with the SAT words. Speak normally. If I wanted to watch someone masturbate all over themselves, then I would just go on chat roulette.
This is where
I
masturbation.
I can't stand it when people speak like
this. This is definitely the
dictionary.
dictionary.
To communicate an idea. The point is to make people think you're smart. Look, he even pulls out a book to read. Then I would just, that's what the SAT words. Speak normally. If I wanted to watch someone masturbate all over themselves, then I would just go on chat roulette.
This is word masturbation.
I can't stand it when people speak like this. Because the point is not to effectively communicate an idea. The point is to make people think you're smart. Look, he even pulls out a book to read, which I'm sure that decision had nothing to do with another negative stereotype about black culture. But you know what? I do think it's fine to use specific or esoteric terminology when you're talking to your colleagues who are knowledgeable in that field. For example, if you want to spend time talking about neurotransmitters with your friends who are psychology majors, I think that's great and useful. But when people speak like this to general audiences, quite honestly, I think it's pretentious, I think it's done to make the speaker look good at the expense of making the audience feel stupid. And most importantly,
Facts.
I have yet to see a person who speaks like this to general audiences who wasn't doing that to hide the fact that he is either saying nothing of importance
Something
or hide
retarded.
the fact that his argument is retarded.
Exactly.
Because certainly not being able to simplify his talking points so that regular people can follow along is a sign that he doesn't understand them that well.
Now, there are countless studies, many of which I draw on for my own research, that link the lived experience of low income or impoverished socioeconomic status with deviations in longitudinal adolescent neurological development, which is just adolescent neurological development over time, and well into adulthood.
I have longitudinal studies on the lived experiences
Ultimate,
of the adolescent
yeah.
trauma response to the intricate modalities
Ultimate,
of
yeah.
semi-hardwired electronic warning devices.
Word salad.
Okay, where are the studies
is
then?
word
It's a lot.
masturbation.
Show them. Put them on screen as B-roll. You know how to use a video editor, right? 12-year-olds can figure that out. I mean, you're going to read a book and use all those $10 words, but you're incapable of bringing up a study to help confirm your hypothesis about smoke detectors? Is it ever
Wait,
a shock
in
how these
uni,
people
aren't you
are-
supposed to source? Aren't you supposed to put the sources in your essay every single time, unless you basically fail? You fail the entire grade. So how are you going to be forced to put your sources on your SATs and on your fucking essays every single time? Though when you make a TikTok video where you're yapping about nothing with zero sources and you probably just made that shit up, find that fucking information out your ass, no sources needed to be put there, huh? At that point, you're not using uni knowledge, are you?
Required to cite sources on their college papers or risk getting expelled, but they can't put a source in a video to save their life. And the crazy thing here is not the fact that this video got millions of views. The crazy thing is all the people in the comments who are acting like this guy is the second coming of Jesus for using a bunch of technical jargon to say
The
that it's not your
glaze, the
fault
normie
if you're
glaze.
too stupid
That's
to
the
change a
normie
battery.
glaze.
This guy is like the human equivalent to Duolingo. That app will waste tons of your time making you think that you're learning Japanese
Yeah, I
without
fucking
actually
hate that
teaching
app,
you
I can't
anything
lie.
significant outside of a few colors and how to say hello. There's no bigger indicator that someone will never get past beginner level at a language than them saying that they study with Duolingo. So this is like the TikTok influencer version of that. And by the way, for me, the smoke detector thing is not about black people. That just happens to be the internet stereotype.
The African ceiling bird. It calls and is ignored.
I wasn't even aware of it until I started using Twitter. But my dislike for people not being able to change their smoke alarm batteries comes from listening to years of a love, sex, and relationships radio call-in show called Loveline with Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla. It was a running bit on the show to ridicule every caller who had their smoke detector beeping in the background.
My question is it okay if you're like tired of hearing about it, about...
Oh my god. First call of the night.
Smoke detector, huh?
Bro, did you hear that little chirping sound?
You can hear it?
We're just glad to know that you can hear it.
TV's still on too.
You're tired of hearing about 9/11.
Yes, and I'm supposed to know, is it okay? Like,
Yeah, most people... There we go again. How do you live with that thing chirping in the background? It's hard to have a...
you sort of just learn to tune in.
Oh, there's one in another room going off. Did you hear that?
You can hear.
You've got two separate smoke detectors that are low on batteries.
It's crazy.
Like one in each room.
And they're all chirping?
Yeah.
That would bother a reptile.
I don't even think 2 is the record. Actual Justice Warrior did a video on this where he brought up the interview of that black girl who smacked the girl in the back of the head with a baton during a race. She had like 8 smoke detectors going off the entire time. I can't believe the reporter didn't just hit the silence button so they could do the interview in peace. But that's not why I'm bringing up Actual Justice Warrior's video. I'm bringing it up because of an interesting comment about fatherlessness that was written by a viewer that I think is confirmed by the Loveline episode.
Now that's in your bedroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at night,
It keeps going.
In
You go
the
to bed.
bedroom is crazy because that shit definitely does not let you sleep easy. That annoying ass beep sound. Imagine trying to sleep to that. Imagine, like, yo, that's crazy. That's just
Ed, right?
that's borderline retarded though.
Oh,
Like, that's actually
Who do you
retarded.
live with, by the way?
My mom.
Interesting phrasing. I would love to see a study on the correlation between single parenthood and the proclivity to have a beeping smoke alarm in the house. As for the PhD candidate, I hate it when people just sit and complain and don't provide solutions or search for solutions to the problems that they speak about. Fortunately, in my opinion, it is none other than other black people who have to live around people who can't change a battery who are the most disgusted by that behavior.
People have black fatigue, not because they hate black people because they're black. They have black fatigue because of how people act, how black people poorly represent themselves and carry themselves within society. All the problems that we have, we can blame ourselves for. We'd rather sit back and blame the white man for. That's why people are tired of dealing with black people. because there's no positive solution, there's no productiveness of black people today in America. Nobody today hates black people because black people exist. Nobody has a hatred of black people because black people are black. People have a disdain for black behavior, and guess what? We're judged by the content of our character and not the color of our skin today.
You see how
You
he
got a
was able
point.
to speak
You got a
clearly
point.
in a way that's easy to understand without trying to insult you by flexing how many SAT words he's memorized?
You know, if he just spoke like this, he would have been way more coherent. People would have actually listened to him more. He would have gotten roasted on videos way less. And overall, he would have had a better look. Just way better than whatever the fuck he tried playing.
What's also great about this video, unlike our sociology student, this guy actually provides 5 minutes of solutions to the problem instead of 8 minutes of excuses.
So how do we stop people from having black fatigue? How do we change this? How do we turn it around? Crime is the biggest issue within the black community. It's we, at the end of the day, we have to deal with the crime and instability that affects our community. That's not the white man coming into the community and shooting up the gas station and the bus stop. That's black people doing it because that's what? We glorify music of violence. We glorify a culture of instability. We glorify a culture of having no order and no control for ourselves and around us.
My opinion is that the pretentious sociology student doesn't give a shit about black people at all. And let me clarify that by saying that as much as you think people on Twitter are racist, personally I think the most racist people are people like this guy who pretend to help black people while at the same time doing everything in their power to sabotage them. Your local Twitter Nazi couldn't dream of being so effective at harming the black community that he would get 3 million views for it and tons of public praise for it. So congrats, buddy. Though in reality, I think the people who actually care about you are people like this guy, Andre Williams, who will speak frankly instead of filling your mind with bullshit that doesn't actually lead to a solution. And a very simple solution to help catalyze what this man is saying is just to bring back a culture of shame.
We need to judge people and their poverty because the same thing that makes people...
Shame is a very powerful deterrent. Shame is genuinely something that needs to be brought back to society because that's essentially what kept women back in line. That's essentially the ultimate kryptonite. Besides accountability, that's the number one kryptonite. We have accountability and shame. Those are the two kryptonites for women in general. And the whole problem, every single problem we have in society today, majority of it stems from feminism. And all feminism stare to do, fuck equality and all that shit. That's essentially the cover. That's the cover name. That's the code name of what's going on. Essentially what it is removing shame from every single control mechanism that we have on bitches in general. And the moment that's removed, then we can have a degenerate society the way we have now. And obviously it trickles down all the way down to the lower ends of society. And then we get smaller, different problems like this. But it all starts way up there. The beginning of this feminism bullshit all starts from there. Breaking down the family unit, destroying the home, kicking out the father and destroying the male authority, giving them all the responsibility with absolutely no authority. It's a bunch of shit. It's a really layered thing. But yeah, you know what? I digress on that for now.
Poor financial decisions so they do not advance economically is likely what is leading them to ignore the smoke detector chirp, which is a lack of long-term thinking and long-term planning.
Right, because the reality is that if you're poor, it's not because of a system of oppression. You have access to infinite good information on your phone. You can learn any skill you want to the highest extent for free.
I'm not gonna lie, the whole smoke detector thing, you know, it might be a funny stereotype overall, but at the end of the day, it kind of says a lot about a person, essentially, because it's a really, really annoying thing to deal with on a day-to-day. I don't know if you've ever had your smoke detector just going off, but sitting there and just dealing with it for hours and hours on end, or days, or even weeks on end, without touching it or dealing with it, says a lot about you. You're willing to endure and take down a lot of bullshit rather than do anything to change your circumstance. So a lot of the times the people that do this obviously tend to be black, and it's always the same people that lack discipline and usually tend to stay in the same place in life and never really succeed. They don't ever grow from their social economic status, and they usually stay poor. That's just what it is, because they're not willing to take action, to plan ahead, to be smart about their fucking finances. In general, it's it's a big thing. It's a really big thing. And it says a lot about you. It's essentially the fact that you're willing to sit there and bear all this bullshit and not do anything to change it. It's the same thing as being poor, essentially.
Or for very little cost and not that much time investment. So if you're destitute, then it's because you're lazy, or because you make bad decisions, or because people who would help you don't want to be around you because you're a bad or a toxic person.
Wrapping it up nicely together in the dying fire alarm, If we can start to understand that the lived experience of low income or impoverished socioeconomic statuses can dysregulate the prefrontal cortex such that the simple task of replacing the fire alarm is made difficult, then we can also start to recognize that living with fire alarms that beep and beep and beep until they die is going to be a more common occurrence in places where people of those socioeconomic statuses are concentrated.
Right. Poverty is why they can't go into their phone and Google how to change a battery. How is this guy's mentality helpful?
They're too poor to click
By the way,
buttons.
for those of you who think that shaming doesn't work, here's a proof of concept.
Something so tragic happened the other day that I was just silent for like 20 minutes because I can't believe that actually just happened. I live in Tokyo.
Shame is the ultimate bitch kryptonite. If there's one thing they fear even more than accountability, if you know what, they actually fear it more than accountability. If there's one thing they fear more than accountability, it's shame. When a whore is fighting another whore, bro, when two hoes are fucking arguing, when two bitches are fighting, what is the first thing they say to each other? What is the first buzz cuss word that they throw out there every single time? They can be OF sluts for all I care. They can be whatever. They can be porn stars. They can be full-blown, full-tier, fucking top-tier, god-tier porn stars. And what would they do, bro? What is the first thing they'd say to each other? Slut, bitch, hoe. Exactly. Shaming mechanism for being out there, for being too free. You know, it's crazy.
In Tokyo, everyone like keeps to themselves. Like they don't really say anything to you, like even if they're thinking it. But we just did a road trip down to Miyazaki, which is like still the city, but it's the countryside. Anyways, this old lady like had to have been, I don't know, 70 to 85, and she's walking along behind us. And she does like the full like rubberneck like looks, right? She pulls this one. She looks at me up and down and goes.
Now you might think, how rude of that Japanese lady. Doesn't she have any manners? Doesn't she know how to treat people appropriately? But here's the thing. The shaming worked.
I didn't think I was fat until I moved to Japan. I wouldn't say I was ever like morbidly obese. And obviously I try to love myself at any size, whatever. That's not what this is about. But when I moved to Japan, I started losing weight. Since I moved here, I've lost about 20 pounds, so that's 11 kilograms. I love living in Japan, but every once in a while, a culture difference
Shaming
just
works.
slaps you in the face when you're least
20
expecting
pounds,
it.
results.
She's getting healthier because obesity is frowned upon in Japanese culture instead of it being promoted like it is in American culture. Shaming is effective because people who are resistant to change will not improve themselves unless they're made to suffer, and shaming a negative behavior is a way to cause suffering. Here's the thing though. In general, psychologically speaking, everyone is resistant to change. When it comes to the people who are worse off than others, a major reason they are like that is because they don't have a regular practice of learning new ideas and, more importantly, implementing what they learned as quickly as possible. In fact, if you want to get to higher levels of skill and really upgrade your life, then getting good at doing this all the time is essential. But to put it into more basic terms so that people who aren't used to this can understand, you have to make change easy and break it down into small steps that you can handle until you can handle more complex and quicker changes. So what I'm saying is that if changing a smoke detector battery is too complicated for your brain, and for a lot of people it is because they don't understand electronics.
You gotta take baby steps. You gotta do daily goals, small daily goals to eventually achieve the bigger yearly goal. That's essentially what he's saying.
Then break it down into steps. The first step is to Google a video. You don't even have to watch it. Just Google it and take a break and watch the video the next day. Then the day after that, buy the battery, and on the last day, change it. It's simple. And what you'll find as you get used to breaking down an activity into small steps is that not only will changing a battery be easier next time because you already know how to do it, but also each step will sort of have its own momentum. Objects in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon. That's the law of inertia, and I think you'll find that it's easier to continue working if you already are. So how it plays out is that you Google the video, and in your head you'll say, well, I've already got the video pulled up, it's only a minute, I might as well just watch it. Then you might say, I think I have one of those batteries in a cupboard, I'll just go get it out, and so on and so forth. The idea is that your goal is to replace the smoke detector battery in one sitting, but you genuinely give yourself the option to do just a little bit at a time, and you'll find that more often than not, you'll initiate an activity that you told yourself that you only had to spend a few minutes on, but because of inertia and because it's easier to stay on the same activity than it is to switch to a different one, you'll find yourself having done multiple hours of work. That's actually one of the primary ways that I motivate myself to make videos when I don't want to do anything. Over 90% of the time, it results in accomplishing hours of work instead of the 5 minutes that I initially planned. Anyway,
That's totally true. That's totally true what he's saying. Yeah, he makes a pretty good point. You know, if you structure things properly and you're doing these activities and one thing leads to the other, a lot of the times you're going to get way more shit done than initially planned, and it's just generally going to make you way more productive. It's something that I implement in my life as well. And I'm pretty sure some of you who don't have active smoke detectors beeping at all times in your house are also familiar with. So yeah, that's the other thing. Anyway, that's the video. I think that was a pretty good video. That's a really good video, honestly. So I liked it. Comment down your thoughts. Let's see what you guys think about the video. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.